middle of the night, and I woke up and my heart was pounding very hard. My hands were sweaty. I turned to my spouse and I said, honey, I think you need to take me to the ER. I may be having a heart attack. Now that's a great way to wake your wife up in the middle of the night. Tell her you're having a heart attack. But she took me to the ER. I don't remember a whole lot about that evening and what took place. I couldn't remember what the nurses were saying or the doctors were saying to me very much at all. But when you're in a traumatic situation, you begin thinking about all kinds of crazy things and crazy thoughts through your mind. And I remember thinking, as I was lying there on that slab wondering how my life got here, about my young days as a student pilot. And my instructor used to always say to me, he said, Jeff, when you're the pilot in command and you find yourself in a traumatic situation in the airplane, it is your job to make sure you keep the plane flying. You've got to trust the proven principles of flight because that's your job. And as I lie there, I thought life is a lot like that. Is that when you're in a traumatic situation in life, and you may not know what's going on in life at that moment, you've got to trust the proven principles of life as well, or you may die and you may not make it. You see, thankfully that night I did not have a heart attack. The doctor came in and said that I'd had some acute attack, a panic attack or something like that, because 2 weeks prior I had lost my job. The board came in and had a meeting with me, and they basically said they wanted something different. They were going in a new direction, and there you have it. In a blink of an eye, everything I'd worked for was gone. I left that meeting thinking my life is never going to be the same again. I mean, everything I'd worked for all of my life was up in smoke in just 2 seconds. I mean, a career that required a graduate degree, years and years and years and years of service and sacrifice, a career that provided for my family and gave them things and gave my children stuff, it was all gone in a moment. Now, I never thought for a moment that I would not rebuild my life. I knew that somehow my life would be different, but I would have to retool some things and redo some stuff in life so I could do something very different. And so the thing that didn't bother me, the thing that really kept me up at night was thinking about my 2 boys. And I wondered how they would view their dad. Maybe he was a failure or couldn't succeed in something, and maybe there may be some kind of something going on there. And that literally took me to the darkest moment of my life. For nights I would think about that and about what they would think. And they didn't. They loved their dad, but it was something that I dealt with emotionally. And it set me on a journey like it has for many of you. As I started seeking out help, I began seeking out advice. I went to counselors and asked them their advice. And quite frankly, often I felt like I was being swindled. Not that I have anything against counselors. If you're a counselor, I'm sure you do a great job. But in my situation, at that moment, it didn't give me anything that I needed. I turned to some of my friends who were successful, and I began asking them about changing life direction. What advice could you give me? Only to find out they just wanted juicy details. All they wanted to do was get something so they could take it to the next party and gossip about it. And I felt totally betrayed. And so I turned to a lot of different areas. As I worked through that in my life, I got up one morning, as I had done many, many other mornings, but this morning was different. I'd shaved. I was looking at the man in the mirror, and I began to make an absolute resolve in my life that has changed everything. First of all, I decided I would never put myself, my finances, in the hands of other people so that on a whim or some personality that they could just take your finances away in the blink of an eye. I would never be put in that position again, that I would control my finances for me and my family from here forward. And then I also made a sound resolution in my life that I would never be afraid to live my dreams. I would never again let fear stop me. I would never again be afraid to dream very big, very large, almost scary big, that I would never allow myself to settle in life, that I would dream bigger than I've ever dreamed in my whole life. And this sent me back on my quest. I remembered that night back in the ER when I thought about the proven principles of flight, remember, that keep you alive when you're in a traumatic situation. You've got to trust those principles. And I thought, after over 15 years of coaching and teaching and listening to people, could we find out what the proven principles of life that keep you flying in life when you're going through a traumatic situation? And so we began to talk to people, hundreds of people, And the same things kept coming up. We made list after list after list. And there were 4 things that kept hitting the table every single time that we would talk to people about changing the direction of their life or about going through a hardship in life. And it was their mindset had to be set right. That's one thing you've got to get in your life. You've got to get your mindset together. And so we'd work with them to get their mindset together. And then we discovered another thing that would come to the surface, and it was constant with everybody we talked to, is you've got to have appropriate action. In other words, you can have the right mindset, but if you don't do anything about it, nothing in your life is going to change. And so vice versa, you can have a lot of action, but if it's just busy action and you don't have the right mindset, then you're not going to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And so you got to have a mindset, you got to put action there, but before you do any of that, you've got to have a vision. We discovered that people that were making life change, they often, if they were struggling or felt stuck and were not making the progress they wanted to make, they had no vision. And so we would sit down and we would just talk about their vision, how to put that together, how to package your vision together for you, the vision that you want to have for your life. And then we talked to them a lot about courage. In the same way that I made a commitment and resolve in my life that I would never be afraid to dream big and do big and go for it. For these people that we were helping and coaching, we discovered the exact same thing. That for some of them, you've got to overcome some of the fears you have to obtain and go where you want to go in life. So for every person, it was a balance of those things, of a mindset and action and courage and having a vision and putting all that together with the right balance. We call it the life compass. And here's what I mean by life compass. It's very simple as this. Whenever you're flying an airplane and you're looking at the compass and you change your direction in that airplane by 1 or 2 degrees, not a lot, 1 or 2 degrees in that flight plan, your destination is going to be totally different because of a small change in your course direction. We took those principles and that idea and we formulated the life compass because we needed to get something together people could get their minds around and get their arms around and make it really happen. Life compass, we've discovered, is you take one of those 4 areas of the life compass, and usually it's just one or the other. It's not even all of them. And you make one little shift, a small shift in the way you think, a small shift in what you do, a very small shift in your vision, or maybe even obtaining a vision, a very small shift in understanding that you don't have to fear fulfilling your dreams and goals and aspirations in life. Those small little changes will put your life in an entirely different, you'll have a different destination at the end of your life. Friend, life and being successful in life and obtaining your dreams, it's not all about just being lucky or being born in the right family or having the right connections. It's about making decisions in your life that will change the ultimate outcome in your destination. In other words, you're not predestined just to end up somewhere. You're not predestined just to be in a place in life. You may not like where your life is. You may not like where your destination is looking or where you're going, but a small shift can change your destination. And what we have discovered is through Life Compass, you and almost every single person that we speak with and that we coach, you are so close to your biggest dreams because it only takes 1 or 2 degrees shift to get there. You don't have to start your whole life over. You don't have to have a whole new plan in your life. Maybe you just need to get a plan, but there's got to be some of those shifts. And what we do, what I want you to join with you is we coach you. You join. I want to hear your story about how your life and your destination can be changed by the shifts you make. Yeah, it wasn't long after we discovered a life compass and we discovered the 4 elements of those: mindset, vision, have action, have courage to do what you want to do. It wasn't long after we discovered these were common elements. They were irrefutable life laws that change you forever, because I began to apply the life compass to my own life. And the results were transformative, not only personally but professionally. I will never be the same. We started sharing Life Compass with other people. One by one, they began to come. It was an amazing thing because I began meeting people that had gone through similar tragic events. They had gone through life trauma. And so we'd have lunch. We'd meet at a coffee shop, and we started talking about what elements do you put in place so that you can have a different destination in your life. And one by one, they began to come. Wasn't long, we were having a little small groups where we would meet in 2 or 3 gathered together. We would talk about Life Compass and what it takes to change your life around. Those 2 or 3 meetings began getting a little bit larger in some larger groups where there were 8 or 10 people. We began taking people to South Beach and doing some intensive work there. We'd get in a nice environment down in Miami, and we would discuss and we would discover what it means for you to experience Life Compass and to be able to have a different place in life. And it wasn't long after that I began to realize that through my trauma, that through everything that I'd been through in life, through the ER experience and all of that this is what I was put on this earth for. And that is to help people. Take Catherine, for example. She's a mid-30s, single mother, educator, and she's totally burned out by the minutia of the classroom. She loves children, wants to help children learn, but she feels like she can't really fulfill her dream or her destiny. She can't do everything she wants to do. So as we began to know Catherine and talk to her about Life Compass and about her mindset and her actions and all those things together, we were able to balance her out so she could dream again and have a new destination for her life as she applied the principles of Life Compass. Today, Catherine runs a private tutoring business out of her home, referral only, to get those children in there. She's doubled her income from being an educator. She's able to spend all the time she wants to now with her children. And because she changed some things about the way she was thinking, she opened up her vision a little bit, and Catherine today is living her dream. I'm telling you, small shifts in her life and applying the principles of Life Compass has allowed her to live the dream and to live a life that's more fulfilling than she'd ever dreamed. So Catherine understands the power of Life Compass. Take Jim. Jim's another guy we connected with. He's a senior vice president of a mid-level company. About a year ago, he contacted me, and we worked with him to get through a little bit of a merger they had with a smaller company. And so just recently, he's had some trouble with conflict resolution within the staff, how to bring in other staff and how to move others around without everybody killing each other. So we had within one meeting, we applied the Life Compass principles. We put some things out on the table. And within one meeting, we discovered one simple tweak that would change everything, that smoothed it out, that helped them have a transition team that would make all the difference in the world for Jim. And so what I discovered is, and what we see over and over and over, is that the same thing, Catherine and Jim, they know what I know, is that most of you and most of us are closer to our dreams than we believed. We're right there. It's one little tweak, it's one little movement. It's changing your course direction by 1 degree or maybe 2 degrees that can change everything. You're feeling a little bit stuck. You feel like maybe that you're going through some trauma in life for you. Are you in transition? Are you like me? Are you lying there on the slab and you don't know what's going on in life, and you feel like life has just kind of knocked you over and you don't know which way to turn? You don't know how to get a vision together. You don't know how to change your mindset. You don't know where to start. You need somebody maybe just to reach out and help you just get started in the right direction. Well, I can help you do it. And I've learned the tricks to it. I've learned how to make your mindset change, and I have learned that Life Compass can put you in a very different direction in your life, in a different destination. And I look forward to hearing your story and how Life Compass has made all the difference for you and helped you accomplish the dreams and the goals and aspirations that you've always had.